Welcome to Friday Reads. Today I will start with two books that I received by UPS today from the publisher Forever Publishing. The first one is Last Night with the Earl by Kelly Bowen. The other title is Christmas on Mistletoe Lane by Annie Raines. What I have read in the last few weeks, what I have read in my last few reads, starting with Leslie Meier's Lucy Stone series, the first 7 books. Here are the first 6 right here. Mistletoe Murder, Tippy Toe Murder, Trick or Treat Murder, Back to School Murder, Valentine Murder, and Christmas Cookie Murder. I also read by her Turkey Day Murder. Now, each of these books receive 4 to 4.5 stars. The series is based on a woman named Lucy Stone, who is an amateur detective. She started off simply being a housewife and mother, but there are murders in her town and she just can't help but ask questions and to try to figure things out. Successfully, case by case, she unearths the culprit or the suspects in each of these murders. As I mentioned, most of the books are between about 4 stars actually. One of them, Back to School Murder, I gave 4.5 stars, but Trick or Treat Murder, I actually gave 5 stars. Some of the 4-star books are because I wasn't so keen on Lucy Stone's parenting style. I kind of felt she left a little bit to be desired. Nonetheless, I loved the series. There are a total of 24 books in the series. I've read the first 7, as I've mentioned. Now, I've also read 2 books by Dayna Quince, which is a 10-book series. The first one is Desperate for a Duke. The other one is Belle of the Ball. There's a third one that I'm reading now called Just One Kiss, but I'm only about 30% in with that one. For these 2 books, they both got 5 stars. Desperate for a Duke and Belle of the Ball. Desperate for a Duke is basically a woman who needs to marry a duke to save her family and to restore its fortune and its name. So she sets her sight on a duke. The duke appears injured, or at least the secretary says that he's injured. Meanwhile, the woman falls for the secretary, but they won't suit. So what happens? Well, it's a great book. Find out. Belle of the Ball is another fantastic book by Dayna Quince. Basically, it continues the series, which is the Desperate and Daring series, by the way. This is a story of Lord Raven and Annabelle. They are very strongly attracted to one another, but Annabelle will only marry for love, and Raven doesn't believe in love. So she sets out to find a man that will steal her heart. I also read Jessica's Promise by Jill Childs. Sorry about that. This book, I only gave 4 stars. Now, this story revolves around a little girl primarily. Her name is Jessica, and the secrets that her babysitter has her keep. Also involved is the older sister, Fran, with the backstory of the babysitter not clearly described, and a very difficult mother who is not the best parent by any stretch of the imagination. At times this was a difficult read, but it was a really good read with a really good suspense. I did read it in very short order, but again, I only gave it 4 stars. I also read A Notorious Vow by Joanna Shupe. I love this book. I have not yet written a review, but I'm going to give that one at least 4.5 stars. The next book that I read was Under Control by Shannon and Stacey. This is part of the Boston Fire series. It's book number 5. I have not yet read the previous books, but it is a standalone novel. It does quite well. This is a story of the opposites attract. It's also a story about love, compromise, and responsibilities. I think that's a good word. Another book that I read that I loved was, if you'll give me a moment, The Firefighter's Pretend Fiancee by Victoria James. This was a second chance romance. It was done very well, but it did have a sensitive subject that it dealt with, and that may trigger a few people, but I think it was an excellent book. I was able to give that book 4.5 stars. The Marquess and the Maiden by Victoria James. This story here, this one here, is another Regency romance. It's a second in the series. It has very strong characters. It's an excellent story. I enjoyed it. Maybe it's because I love Regency romances so much. It did have a good story, a good storyline, and it was very interesting. The next one that I read was The Secrets We Keep. This was by Kate Hewitt. Now, I gave this 4 stars. I really had a hard time with this book, though. The book was really good. It kept me very, very interested. I read it through rapidly. As a matter of fact, I co-read it with another person. But when we got to about 80% of the book shifted. It shifted so fast and so hard, and the conclusion was so heartbreaking that the book was fortunate to get a 4. But it's a good read if you like Kate Hewitt. Now, I believe I read another one, which is, if I didn't already mention, I believe that's it. Wow, that's it. Now, there are 2 other books that I did not finish. The 2 books that I did not finish are The Goodnight Song by Nick Hollis and The Lost Children by Steve Parker. I just could not finish either one of these books. Let me tell you, with The Goodnight Song, I only got maybe 20% into that book. First of all, it's a continuation, it's part of a series, and it does not do well as a standalone. Secondly, it's very dark, and the characters rely a lot on the previous story, and because I hadn't read the previous story, I could not connect with it at all. The other book that I didn't finish, oh my goodness, The Lost Children by Steve Parker. I'm a mother and a grandmother, and I have a very soft heart. As it is entitled, The Lost Children, yes, children are victims in this book. It's very graphic, far too graphic for me. I will say I made it to 36% in the book, but the book has things in there that I couldn't handle, such as witchcraft, the violence towards children, issues that I don't even want to discuss really. Now, The Lost Children and the Goodnight Song, they were part of a blog tour, so I was presented with a new problem. How do I have an obligation towards authors and publishers that I cannot keep? I managed to go ahead and make promo posts for these, anyway, with the Goodnight Song, that's scheduled for Tuesday, so that will be a promo post and an excerpt for those who would like to check it out. And as far as The Lost Children, I just simply did a promo post for that on my blog. Anyway, that's it. That's what I've read. I'm in the process, as I mentioned, of reading another Dayna novel, Just One Kiss. I have a lot more on tap for next week. I'll pop in a couple of reviews here and there, and next Friday I'll try and summarize, and I will try to do better than I did today. All right, thank you very much. I hope that this was interesting, and I did list the names of the books below in case any of them are of interest to you. You'll have the names and the authors below. All right, you take care. Bye-bye, y'all.